Hey gamers, welcome back to a brand new DSP video. That's right, we will be discussing DSP's little update on his politics channel. That's right, we're gonna be going over what happened to it, what's going to happen to it, whatever the fuck, right? Now I do want to bring up that I was initially considering watching this 8-minute video from Almighty Loser that is a montage of the politics content DSP has put out. I was debating watching this, but I think I'm just gonna link into this video instead because it is a great video. We're like a few months removed from the politics content, and watching this, you really see just how insane DSP's politics content really was. Actually, let's just watch a little bit of it, or watch as much or all of it, whatever. Let's just watch it. Fuck it. Why not? It's a good video anyway. Give it a looky look. Love the intro by this guy. Look how cool it is.
I miss my son. My son didn't have to go through this. I didn't have to go through this either. It hurts.
I hate when he does that shit.
His son didn't have to go through this, and he didn't have to go through this either. Aren't you his dad? So if you're his dad, why was your son on the streets, homeless, on drugs, hungry, threatening people, getting arrested 42 times? Where were you?
Look how insane this is. Now, I said this, I think, back when I covered it, but this dude, when he first talked about this, the first thing he brought up was how the system failed Jordan and this and that. And you're thinking, okay, maybe he's gonna criticize, like, just the situation and, like, and all this other stuff. But he brings that up, like, very, like, nonchalantly, and then he just focuses on all this other stuff instead. Like, he got more mad at the BLM leader, Jordan's father, and people who were reacting to the verdict on Daniel Penny. He doesn't really have any other take than that, and it's like, man, everyone said this dude rides the fence, and he kind of did, but he rides the fence in very weird ways. He rides the fence on very weird subjects, right? Like, I think the best way, if you were to ride the fence on this, he should have at least sat there and was like, you know, it is really, like, crazy that this dude was making everyone, like, he was making people feel unsafe on the train. Like, that's not really, like, you know, what are you supposed to do in that situation? But I also think it's kind of messed up that this other guy, like, held him down for too long, and, like, maybe it was too long. Maybe he didn't have to hold him down for that long. You know, maybe something else could have happened instead of that. Maybe, you know, whatever. And instead, it was just like he fenced it on these extremes, and he spent most of the time, like, blaming people, mostly Jordan's father, and it's like, that's not a good angle to kind of discuss, because the father is obviously going to be very, like, hurt by his son's death, and the situation of it is very, like, he doesn't know their life situation. He doesn't know, like, how frequent Jordan was with his father, how up to date Jordan's father was. Like, did Jordan's father even know the situation of what was going on with Jordan's life at that point? We don't know. Like, maybe he did. We don't know. I mean, as far as I know, I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this that much. And it's like, I'm not gonna, like, blame people. I can criticize other stuff, but it's like, without knowing a lot of information, I'm not gonna sit there and say, oh, it must be this, it must be that. You know, like, there's a lot of stuff that you can kind of think of, but the fact that this is what he landed on is, like, out of all the things he could have, like, talked about, I don't think this is one of them that should have been featured. It's like, you know, why?
You motherfucker!
And then this dude also says that he gives intelligent takes, by the way, that are rational. This does not sound that rational to me.
Where the fuck were you? Where were you when he was going through it? You're his father. You're the one who had him. You're the one who was responsible for raising him, for teaching him how to fend for himself.
Yeah, but like these are though when you listen to this, you really think Jordan was like 8 years old or something. Like you think he's an actual child. But then you realize, no, Jordan was an adult at this point. And like that's why he's homeless and all this other stuff happened to him. Like a lot of this stuff it's very tricky in the sense that like there's a lot of moving parts in what led to this. Like people's mental health is not like easy to like find or to like take care of half the time. Like it's not as easy as to say, "Oh, that guy get him to the hospital or whatever." You know, it's not easy. And again, how much did Jordan's father know about Jordan's lifestyle or life at that point? We don't know these situations. He's reacting to a video of Jordan's father feeling remorse or not remorse. Would it be remorse? But sorrow, like sadness about his son's death. And this dude is like focusing on like these other things that are like, yeah, but sometimes like you can raise someone to be a productive member of society. That doesn't mean that they're gonna get a good paying job necessarily. Like a lot of things can happen in someone's life that can like get in the way of these things. Like again, it's not just as easy as like this is what it is or that's why it happened. Like, you know, ask yourself like why was Jordan on the train like going through something, yelling at people and making a scene. Like he didn't go there with the intention of doing that. Maybe it was something going on in his life at that point. There's a lot of things that people go through and people reach breaking points. It's not easy, and it's not like a thing that you can just kind of point a finger at and say that's what it is. Like, oh, it must be Jordan's father, that's why this happened. Like, you can't really say that. But this is just making reactionary statements. Like that's really all his politics content is reactionary remarks as to what is happening, not any thought as to why these things happen or what could have led to these things. Like he has no thought on this other than, wow, where was his dad? And it's like, you know, this argument, it's kind of a go-to when it comes to like violence with like kids. You always ask, where are the parents? Like you see a mass shooting at a school, where were the parents? Why wasn't the parent involved with this kid's life? Why didn't the parent realize that the son had access to their guns or whatever? Like you always go to the parent when it comes to that. But this isn't like that. That's not the situation with this. But he goes to it because it's such an easy talking point that it's kind of like a reflex. That's what's like that was like I get a lot of people get a lot of like irony or like they hate watch the fuck out of the politics channel, and I understand the enjoyment of that. But man, it is just insane how this guy just like reports on news. It is insane.
How to be a mature adult who could get a job, who would be off drugs, who would be a productive member of society, someone who wouldn't be arrested 42 times. That was your responsibility. You failed. You're the reason your son is dead.
And like it's like trauma dumping or like whatever. Like it's kind of fucked up. Because again, like he's watching a video where his dad is like being like sad about his son, and he's kind of like rubbing it in. Like, and also the statement of him saying like, oh, that they didn't have to go through this or whatever. It could also be taken, oh my god, excuse me, as Jordan Neely's dad taking like feeling bad that he wasn't there for him and this and that. Like it's a very like, it's not like mega general, but it's there's a lot of like emotion with that statement, and it's like really DSP is like acting this way because he thinks that Jordan Neely is like solely blaming Daniel Penny on this, when you know it may be more than that. Like it's a very complex situation for a parent to go through. Like, it's not just a one emotion that he's feeling at that point. And this dude is sitting there and like just acting as if that's what he's going through, but it's like you don't know what's going on with these people at the end of the day, and it's kind of like insensitive to like act this way. Like, come on.
Period. You're not a victim. You're the perpetrator, motherfucker. So this Luigi Mangione guy, okay,
Luigi Mangione.
is actually rich. Went to an Ivy League school, was the valedictorian in high school, was well known and loved and regarded by everyone around him, apparently had a level head and a level mind, okay? And then all of a sudden goes and murders the CEO of a major healthcare company. Valedictorian of his high school. Ivy League education in college. Rich. Wealthy.
Man, this fucking animation, man. What the fuck is this? It's Trump like doing this, and then it's this guy. Who is that supposed to be? Is that supposed to be like Trump being angry? It looks like a mustache. It looks like a bald guy. Like the George Costanza hairstyle, and like a big thick mustache. But I guess this would be angry Trump.
Adonis-like body, right? Oh my God. And in his brain, he had an actual intelligence level of a small 5-year-old. Thinking, oh, someone did something
my
wrong.
God.
Let's go murder them immediately. That's
Dude, and again, this is another thing that he just kind of reads, and he just reacts like a knee-jerk reaction to, because this whole thing with like the CEO murder of United Health, there's a lot of things going on with that story, and I think even recently, I think someone found out that like United Health overcharged. I think it was overcharged, or it was either overcharged or denied. I think it was overcharged people's cancer treatments. Like they can't, like the medication that they would get for like cancer and all this other stuff, they overcharge that, and it's like that's kind of fucked up. Like, you know, like a lot of people got their coverage denied by them, and all this other stuff from United Health, and DSP is acting as if like, why would people be mad about this? And he's not really talking about the. In my opinion, as I said, I think when I covered this, I think the more interesting angle about this like Luigi Mangione story is mostly just how nobody was on the side of the CEO. They were more like empathetic or sympathetic with Luigi, because they were just like fed up with how these healthcare insurance companies just take your money and they don't want to give you any coverage. They deny any claim and this and that. And that, I think that's much more interesting to like think about than like the notion of murder is wrong. Like, yeah, okay, murder is wrong. But like, what about these companies that just deny people's coverage for life-saving medicine that they need? Like, it's not like, oh, you know, cancer, you don't need medication for cancer, right? Like, I mean, these are like medications that people need, and it's like they're denying their coverage for that. But let's not talk about that. That's a little too complicated for a little Phil to like wrap his little mind around.
That's the solution.
Meanwhile, this guy would say multiple occasions how it's so expensive, man. I can't go see a doctor for my ears because I have to do this. It's ridiculous. Oh man.
Wow. And again, we were talking about facades, right? The facade this guy wore, and everyone thought that he was the nicest guy, the smartest guy. He was a little kid. He was an immature little kid who couldn't get his way, and he was a...
He couldn't get his way. Like, that is such a wild statement, in my opinion, to, like, say that you're mad at a healthcare company for not covering something that you need, and saying that your reaction to that is you not getting your way. Dude, they're paying the healthcare company for coverage, and then they deny them. Like, at some point, like, is that, like, fucked up and annoying? And you're gonna be like, hello, I don't know. Like, it's, but I just think it's a little, like, weird to me to, like, frame it as, like, Luigi Mangione is, like, some spoiled brat, when it's, like, Dude, healthcare has been denying people's coverage for years. That leads to either people being like swamped in debt or not getting in the treatment, and they end up like either dying or like not avoiding something that would have been prevented if they were able to get the medication. Like, there's all this stuff that goes on. And he's like, well, it's clearly Luigi's being a little spoiled brat entitlement here. It's like, I mean, I don't know, man.
Upset that he doesn't get his way, so now I'm gonna get him. Because those people who were in power, these Democrats that were in power, lied to them and said, open borders. So they all came.
This is insane. I want DSP to show me the video. I want a video of Biden saying, open borders, come on in. I need to see that. I want to see that because I don't think any politician has said open borders. I think they may say that it's like, you know, the sanctuary cities on that we'll keep you safe or whatever, but these are like things for that are directed towards the illegal immigrants that are here to like be law-abiding citizens, basically. The ones that are trying to get a better life, trying to get a job, going to school, like those kind of immigrants, usually. But this dude is sitting there as if like they were like open borders when that's not the case. It's really like he's reacting to liberals who say that, but not the administration. Like if I make a tweet saying open borders, like, oh, we should have open borders, do you still think that me saying that is like representative of the Democratic Party when that's not really the case? But okay.
Running, thinking, oh, this is it. It's our chance. We're escaping horrible lives and things. It's sad that in their countries, their lives were so bad and that they thought that if they came here, they would have a better one. I feel for them, but that doesn't mean that everyone here has to
That is insane when he says that I feel for them, but he then later on goes on to say, like, ouchies, and this, which is, like, kind of callous. A callous response to what's going on.
For their happiness. That's not how life works. It never.
But they're not here for free. Like, the ones that want to be here, that are here illegally, they have jobs. They do the menial labors that nobody wants to do, like mowing the lawn, landscaping, architecture, construction, and that kind of stuff. Like, those are jobs that are mostly given to illegals because people get to exploit how little they can pay them because they're not citizens, so they don't have to give them like minimum wage. So so they're here to do jobs. They're not here literally, like, he makes it sound as if like these illegals come here and then we just give them a house and they just stay home all day. Oh yeah, they go to school for fun and all this other stuff. That's not how it works for a lot of these immigrants that come over here. A lot of people say that in regards to like healthcare and all this other stuff, but it's like, you know, they're here, at least they're here doing jobs that nobody wants to do, right? But it is what it is. I mean, it's a very big debate, but DSP doesn't really like go further than, well, they're here illegally, thus it's a crime, thus get them out of here. It's like and it's ironic. This dude talks about Luigi having the mind of a child. Well, this is very childish to just say, well, this is illegal, so that's why. It's like, okay, but like, why are they here in the first place? What do they do here? Like, do we benefit from having illegal immigrants working in construction? What about this? What about that? Like, we're not going to be thinking about that at all? Like, okay.
It was. All right? It never was. That was never the agreement. Ever. When we set up this country, it wasn't, we will just let every single person in possible and pay their way. No one agreed to that. Doesn't matter.
Okay. I'm not going to watch the whole thing, but this is a good video. I will recommend it because it covers a lot. Let's, it covers the Ukraine stuff, but does it cover anything else? Oh, what is this?
They've got the FBI going after this shit.
Oh.
And sent it overseas. What the fuck's going on?
What the fuck?
And they've got the FBI going after this shit. When I've had multiple death threats and all.
The fucking text. Dude, he acts as if like the FBI works at one case at a time. And so like this text message, they are dedicated for this text message, and that's it. Anything else, that's an afterthought. We're only focusing on this, guys. Like, it's very clear that when the FBI says that, we'll take care of it. It's either that they're gonna have like a team look at it, or they're like, yeah, we're gonna do it when we get to it. Like, okay.
All this shit going on, that's what they're focused on. Anonymous, mean texts. Good work. So for every billable dollar.
Why doesn't he like report this to the FBI then? Like, I love that he brought that up, but it's like, well, then why doesn't he report it? He could report to the FBI. I think there's a way to do it. Whatever, guess not.
That the FBI, all right, is getting paid. That's out of my taxes, by the way. So all my tax money, everyone's tax money in this country that we're paying, and it goes to fund the FBI, this is what they're investigating.
Man, and that's the other thing about his politics channel. It's if it's not him complaining about liberals and them being sad that Trump is president, it's that, or it's crying about taxes and where the tax dollars go. But you know, the tax dollars really barely go back to the citizens as it is. A lot of times it goes to the military. Like, that's where a lot of it goes. Or to billionaires, or to companies to bail them out. Whatever. There's all these, like, situations where people can argue that, well, the money shouldn't be going there. It should be going here instead, or whatever. And that's, like, a debate that anyone can have. And that's kind of like what Bernie Sanders is saying when he wants to have, like, free education, this, that. He wants taxes to go to those things. And a lot of people say that socialists, we shouldn't do that. We don't want to pay for other people's education, whatever. I mean, I would argue, like, look, I would much rather our taxes go to education and healthcare before military. Like, you know, I'm not saying to give $0 to the military, but I do think that having a nation that's educated is a little bit more important than, like, not educating them or whatever, because that's things people can use day to day and this and that. But he never really goes into, like, where he thinks other than, well, it should just go back, it should go into, like, helping us. Okay, I mean, that's a statement, but, like, what about these kids that want that, right? Like, he says he's not for what Bernie Sanders is about. He doesn't agree with, like, Bernie Sanders' belief of giving free education, free healthcare, even though that's, like, stuff through taxes. But it's like, but then you don't want taxes to go to war, to the FBI solving text messages, or any of this stuff. But when Bernie wants to put taxes towards education, healthcare, we definitely don't want that for some reason. I mean, like, come on.
They're not stopping criminals. They're not stopping drug dealers. They're not stopping mass murderers. They're stopping the mean texters. Well, I'm glad. I will sleep soundly tonight, sending in my thousands of dollars of tax.
You know, it's funny. He recently, was talking about how he could get a chargebacker arrested, or this, like, he literally was, like, threatening someone who charged back $50 that he was gonna call the police. I'm like, why are you thinking about this? Like, he's gotten so many chargebacks, right? A lot of chargebacks. And so that's going on. He has this fantasy of, like, cops going after criminals. Like, he fucking has a fantasy about this. And yet, when he's talking about, like, potentially reporting a chargebacker to the cops, well, I could, I'm not, because maybe he's gonna change his mind, but I just want you to know, I could call the cops. I could get them investigated. I could investigate you, chargebacker. I could. And it's like, why don't you then? You've gotten so many chargebacks, like, for years. And this is why, like, that the chargeback nonsense that he has sounds fake to me. Because he says every day, he's fighting with PayPal, and sometimes he wins it, sometimes he loses it. He tells us he sends PayPal, like, streams and screenshots of him, like, reading the tip message and this and that. And yet he still sometimes wins it, sometimes loses it. Yet this time he's like, look, I could send them a packet of all this evidence of me, like, doing what I was told, and I could get him investigated. And it's like, okay, then why don't you? Why don't you get them investigated? It makes no sense. All right, let's move on to this.
Other special stuff. I needed to put it on a hiatus regardless. And I said, I will.
I love the meme of putting things on hiatus because it is a like soft cancel at that point. Like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth was on hiatus. Yakuza Kiwami 1 hiatus. Disgaea 5 hiatus. Sea of Stars hiatus. When has he gone back to any of these things? Like, as I said before, this dude can never just outright cancel something. The only time he'll do that is if like it gets really low support, and then he can use that to like blame the audience. But if it's something that he doesn't want to do, he can't just say I don't want to do it anymore. He has to like soft cancel it. Thus he says words like hiatus, oh, I'll never say no, not really, maybe later, whatever. It's like you gotta keep the door open. You gotta keep that little door open so that if he does go back on it, little Timmy in the class can't say, wait, but Phil, you said you'd never do that again.
Bring back DS politics after the Trump inauguration. Like, I feel once he's in power and stuff starts happening in politics, that would be the time to bring it back and start actively talking about it and covering it again. Okay?
Yeah, because there's nothing going on right now, right?
I'll be honest with everyone at this point. I haven't even found, I'm following the politics, and yes, there's stories to cover. For sure, there's stories to
I love he said there's no stories now. There'll be stories when he gets inaugurated. He's telling us now that there are stories that he can cover, but there's no stories.
cover and things happening. But I don't think, like, me covering any of these political stories is really going to be very riveting to people, at this point. I think people like my takes on certain things, like,
I gotta hear this again.
but I don't think, like, me covering any of these political stories is really going to be very riveting to people, at this point. I think people like my takes on certain things. Like, for example, yesterday, my
It's not
take
gonna
on
be
the Switch
riveting.
2. People enjoyed that. My take on Assassin's Creed Shadows getting delayed. My take on Atomfall, when the first,
Sorry, I
well,
gotta hear it
yesterday,
again.
my take on the Switch 2.
So, man,
Like, me covering any of these political stories is really going to be very riveting to people, at this point.
he almost said anymore. He almost said anymore.
Sure, there's stories to cover and
Listen.
things happening,
Listen.
but I don't think, like, me covering any of these political stories is really going to be very riveting to people, at this point. I think people
Whatever.
like my takes on certain things. Like, for example, yesterday, my take on the Switch 2. People enjoyed that.
Did they? I did not. That take was incredibly stupid. But this dude is sitting there like, well, like, no one's gonna take, like my takes on politics. Yeah, because they fucking suck, man.
My take on Assassin's Creed Shadows getting delayed.
But these are like
My
gamer
take on
stories,
Atomfall,
whatever.
when the first gameplay reveal came out and stuff like that. These are the kind of takes that people are enjoying. I'm breaking these out as highlights and uploading them, and they're getting good views. They're getting more views than anything I'm doing on my channel, okay? That's the kind of stuff that people are
Is
looking.
it getting more views than the politics stuff, though? Like, it's really weird he's not, like, comparing it to that, but he's comparing it to, like, stuff on that channel, right? Like, okay.
Towards me for. I don't think that many people are saying, I need to get the high-end political opinions from Dark Side Phil.
People were telling him for years to do politics content. Now, no one is asking to get his take. But again, we didn't get his take. Like, you go and watch that Frogga video, and all it is him literally just doing knee-jerk reactions to just news stories. Guys, illegal immigrants, they're here illegally. Of course they're gonna be deported. That's always the case because they're here illegally. It's like, wow, what a statement. Murder is wrong. Wow. Like, I think the only way politics could really work is if, like, either someone is very informed on what they're talking about, or they offer a little bit more of like of a take than just like what they read, and it's like one thing that they read. I don't know, like, there's a lot, but I even to me, it's like, I don't want to do politics content myself because I don't want to like just sit there and just talk about stuff like that because at some point it's like half the stuff that I see being reported, it's like, yeah, this is like kind of like downer news. I don't want to like do nothing but that because at that point it's no different than doom scrolling on Twitter. It's like I don't need this. I'm just gonna like just focus on stuff that, and maybe Akita just make a tweet about something, but it's like I don't want to like sit here and just have news stories and talk about that. Like that's not really what I want to do. Especially like, sometimes I may not just not have the patience to read an article sometimes. I mean, again, it's very like situational, and I don't want to sit there and be like held accountable to like reporting it to other people or whatever. So it's like that's like why I don't do it. And the time I was doing it reacting to DSP's politics, like I'm fine with these videos. I'm fine reacting to it. If he does it again, I'm gonna react to it, sure. But it's like at some point, it's like how much like it's. I started to notice that a lot of his politics stuff kind of blended together. Like as insane as it sounds, and same in that 8-minute video, they all start to like blend together, and it's like, really, how long could it really go for this guy, right?
You know,
You know,
unlike Review Tech USA, who actually thought that people like cared about his political opinions, I never thought anyone would care about my.
Rich, of course, you gotta bring up Rich. You gotta deflect to Rich. Rich, it was very obvious he did it for attention, and he didn't do it genuinely either. Like he just so happened to bring up right wing topics, and I think like now he like stopped doing that. And it's like, yeah, he just did it for the clout. He wanted the clout of people like, wow, he does right winger stuff. Wow. And then like, that didn't work out as well because he didn't get the shock of people saying, wow, he's a right winger now, and he didn't get the right wingers to be like, wow, Rich, we love you. So it was like, I don't think it worked at all the way he thought it would. So it's low hanging fruit. At the end of the day, like all Rich did is he just wanted attention, honestly. He's a little bitch.
Political opinions. It was you guys who said I should do a politics show all this time. It was you. You were the ones that, you should do politics, Phil. We want to see you do politics. So I gave it a shot. I'll be honest, I don't think it really worked. You know?
It's so funny. He bragged. When he was doing it, he was bragging about how everyone loved it. It was successful. Even when he knew it was botted, he was like, yeah, I know it was botted, but we got people. We had people talking, showing up. But when he watched it, he didn't even talk to chat. He hyped up the politics channel as him being open to like other people's opinions in his chat, and he'd be willing to discuss it with people. And he didn't read chat at all. Like I don't necessarily say he banned people for different opinions because I don't know, I wasn't like paying attention to his chat for that. But it was just like he wasn't responding to anything in his chat like at all. And I honestly don't think it's a good idea for him to like respond to his chat because it's full of LARPers, for starters. And I don't think that they'd be giving genuine opinions, to be honest.
I don't. I put in a lot of work because I was researching tons of stories every week to do that show, putting them together, and
How much research did he really put, though? A lot of times he just had tabs open. And then he would just read stuff. Like, it's so funny to me. I didn't think of it then. I just thought of it now. He would read an article, then during the stream would highlight a statement. And I'm like, why couldn't he, when he was researching these stories, highlight these things ahead of time? And then he could just read what he highlighted. Or read the paragraph of the thing that was highlighted. No, he couldn't. Because guess what? He just went to Rudders or whatever the fuck and just said, oh, that's a story. Click, 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 click. Alright, let's start stream. And that's it. I don't believe he did any research. Like, a lot of people don't like a lot of talk shows. I'm not gonna like sit here and tell you guys, you should watch this. But at least with like The Daily Show, specifically the one with Jon Stewart, and then the one with last week tonight. That one at least they just kind of show stuff that is like, hey, we researched this. This is what we read. This is what we found interesting in this story. Whatever. Like, they at least like, oh my god, excuse me. They at least show stuff that they read in advance and they wanted to like kind of show what they're talking about. DSP didn't do any of that. He just kind of just read the whole ass article and then during that would highlight after the fact. Why not highlight before? But it would require him to read, and that's the other thing. Him reading. I am not backing down on my belief that this dude has reading problems. Like, I can forgive some slight misunderstandings some people may have when they read something or whatever, but just the sheer amount of misunderstanding this guy does and all this other stuff is very, very weird, to the point where I really question his comprehension. And the politics channel did nothing but highlight that to me. He would read a fucking article and just say either the extreme opposite or the extreme nonsense that he got from it instead of what was actually being said.
I don't really think that people liked it that much. Okay, maybe I'm wrong, but when you see a ton of attention, less attention, pretty much almost no attention,
Wow, and he bangs the mic. Guys, I have such an amazing setup. Bang, bang, bang. Hit the mic. And we still hear the wobble, wobble in the fucking mic. Man.
Lowest supported stream you've had in ages.
And honestly, we're getting to the point where he's literally going to start doing podcasts where he has to keep his hands still. So he's going to be talking like this. Like, he's going to, like, get a piece of rope and tie himself down to the chair.
That tells me something. That's a pattern. That's called a decline. That's called a fall off, and it probably means no one cares, okay? Now, if you guys disagree, and you think me bringing it back would work, I would maybe consider it. But here's what I'm seeing right now. People want me to play certain games. People are enjoying the podcast. People like Smart Guys since I've brought it back. It's doing well right now.
Smart Guys is insane, but I don't want to do a little like a drive-by on Smart Guys for a little minute. I watched last week's episode, and PPP brings up the LA fires during the show, and that kind of they were talking about wrestling, then they got derailed into talking about the LA fires, and did talk about like James Woods about it and all this other stuff about it. And I'm sitting there, and I'm like, this dude, right, bitches and cries about games that throw in politics in media. Oh, these things. I want to play a game, and then suddenly it's telling me about pronouns and all this other stuff. But you go watch Smart Guys with the intention of I just want to listen about wrestling. PPP brings up the LA fires, and then they have a little segment dedicated talking about it in a wrestling podcast. And it wasn't like anything meaningful either. It was kind of like, it was something else. I would have to rewatch it just to know the context, because I don't want to say something out of turn, and you know, whatever. But I don't think it was. I don't think it was very positive. I'll put it that way. But it was just. It was still like, hey man, you're doing a podcast about wrestling. Why the fuck are we bringing up the LA fires? And it was it like, you know. And you'd think Mr. I don't want politics in my games would kind of realize maybe I shouldn't be talking about the LA fires in my wrestling podcast. Oh man.
This week we're gonna
and it's the wrestling podcast it's kind of crap, but it is like, I don't know how to put it. Like I think like ALT put it the best, where it was like it's a podcast where DSP gets cucked almost every week. because it's a podcast that he was like, yeah, we're talking about wrestling, hell yeah. And then it was like, yeah, let's make fun of Phil for a minute. Let's do a segment making fun of Phil. And we do that more, and it's like, man, it is something else. It's kind of like, and my hope is that we get to a point where PBB starts going more and more like toxic towards Phil, to the point where it will be forced to confront it on the show. Like, if we get to that point, I will be so happy to see that happen. But I kind of don't think it's gonna happen. But if it did, that would be so good. That would get me to watch all of the wrestling. I will do a video or a stream, whatever, of watching every single Smart Guys Revival video, archive, whatever the fuck, up to that point. I'll do it if it happens. But I don't think it's gonna happen, because this dude is so cucked and desperate to have another show with a co-host so he can say, I have a friend. He's so indebted to them. Like, man, one day I'm gonna find 2 clips. The one where he says he'd rather be homeless than go back to Twitch. That's one. That's number 1. Number 2 is finding the clip of him basically saying that he allows Kino Casino to make fun of him because he gave him clout or whatever, which is the most embarrassing thing I heard from him. Like, I just couldn't believe it. I was like, I can't believe this guy has kind of said the quiet part out loud.
Talk about AEW wrestling, which is the first time I've ever seen it. Yes, I did watch AEW wrestling, and I have a lot to say.
And the other thing about the WWE thing is, I also feel like it's that PvP's trying to show like a lot of like this like I don't say necessarily right wing, but like culture war nonsense, and try to kind of like force DSP to do that, because I feel like the one time they had him on Kino Casino, they kind of tried to do that with gaming, and it wasn't that successful. So I think this is PvP's attempt to try to get that in this. And I think it's a little more successful this way because, you know, wrestling's wrestling. You know, you're going to get a lot of stuff from that.
About it on Smart Guys on Tuesday. I think people are going to really like that. So I have these things that are kind of like my forte that I think people enjoy hearing me talk about. Also, like I said, I'm actually in the process of determining if and when I can appear for one or more appearances. I'm being asked to be on a couple different shows right now. And I'm trying to figure it out in my scheduling and everything.
I mean,
I need to get back to people. I've been waiting to hear about my schedule. See, the thing is, I don't know about next week, because next week I already have an extra day off I'm spending with my wife, so probably I shouldn't also take more time away from stream.
Man, it is so annoying. Like, I can understand someone like having a pen in their hand and they're like just playing with it, or, you know, me and my automaton, whatever. I mean, at least it's an instrument and all that. I will, by the way, if I have any viewers that were in Russia, my last video about the viewer's choice thing got blocked. I know, tragic. It was because I played I had played ragtime music, and Russia doesn't like that apparently, because they're fucking idiots. Putin probably was like, "Oh, ragtime? Oh, no, thank you. We don't want that in our country." So I'm sorry to my Russian homies. Putin does not like ragtime. But I did a whole rendition of the dun 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 dun, dun with this, and I don't know if it was successful. I don't know, but no one complained, so it must be average at best. At best, maybe mediocre, but it wasn't awful. It can't be. It was a failure. I'll put it that way.
January or first week of February, I could take some time out to do some special stuff. I'm thinking, but yeah. That's what I'm thinking. But as for DS politics, I don't know, man. I just don't know if you guys would care. Let me put it this way. Would you prefer if I did a DS politics stream one night, or if we had a stream playing a game that you guys like and we hang out and enjoy? Right?
What a great setup. do you guys want to see me do politics, or do you want to see me stand on my hands and do backflips and like play WWE Champions Time and play video games and like eat food that you love so much? What do you want? Man, the choices are hard.
Would you like think about the game that you really like right now? What is it? Is it Marvel Rivals? Is it Call of Duty? Is it the Dark Souls with mods? Is it, Dino Crisis you really want to see or whatever? Think about it. Would you rather sit there and enjoy that gameplay stream with me, or would you rather sit there for 2 hours and hear me talk about politics? Like, what do you prefer? Right?
I love that setup. Well, I could play a game that you like. What game do you like? I'll play that, or I'll just do 2 hours and talk about politics all time, all stream. I mean, if you don't want to do it, why not just say I don't want to do it? Like that is one of the many things that kind of gets under my skin about this guy. If you don't want to do something, just say no. Just say no. And this dude acts as if he doesn't get peer pressured. I think you can't peer pressure this guy into anything. I'm sure if PPP was like in the room with him, like for this he has to be in the room with him. He could probably get DSP to do a bong rip. I think he could get him to do a bong rip. PP will literally have to be there with the bong. That's the thing. That's why it can't be through Discord, because that gives him the window of like, no, but if PP shows up with a bong and he's like, Phil, do the bong rip, Phil. The king does the bong rip. Come on, Phil, do it. Here it is. I got everything set up. Do it, Phil. And Phil's gonna be like, okay, man. Yeah, I know I spoke my legs, but I'll do it for the king. I am the king. I gotta do it. Yeah! And then he does it, and then he's like, then he gets really high. Higher than we've ever seen him before. That's what I think would happen.
Right?
Right? No, that's stuck in my head. Damn it, I was thinking about the ragtime song.
What? Big
What?
Boss did a $2 super chat and says, Dynasty Warriors Origins with PF Chang's is awesome. Huh?
Huh? Okay, we're gonna power through that.
I have no clue what he's talking
clue.
about. My time. I don't want to spend. So anyway, listen, okay? I'm not opposed to bringing back DS politics, but I need it to be worth my while and my time.
Man.
I don't want to spend a bunch of time over the week gathering these news stories, okay? Getting them all together, picking the best ones, covering them in detail to get 200 viewers and make $50. I want it to be something people...
Remember when $50 was a successful stream? I remember that. Mario remembers that. We all remember that.
Well, actually want. I want to make content you want. And there is content in demand right now. There's content in demand on this channel.
Why is he playing Marvel Rivals when he said that people didn't want it?
And it doesn't seem to be politics. Get it? So...
Get it?
Unless I'm wrong and you guys convince me otherwise, I don't really see the point.
I love he has to see the point, of course. Man, I hate these animations. They're all so generic. Like,
that's true.
Really
Winston says, I prefer political streams, but it can only garner as much interest as how interesting the news cycle is that week. You're right. You're basically beholden to it.
Oh my god, that's so, like... News stories are not meant to be entertaining. Does DSP and his little babies in chat not know that? Like, news is not entertaining. News is supposed to be, like, informative. Man, who goes to their like news source and like, okay, let's read about something entertaining, and then you read some like horrendous horrendous shit on the news. Okay.
whatever the topic is that week of what's going on in politics, right? So if it's a great week of debate and all kinds of stuff, but if it's not, then it's going to be a week that's kind of a filler week that's not that good, right?
I mean, it's okay. Okay, buddy. Sure. All right. Man, I love podcasts,
Gerard
man.
says, I think some people wanted
My
to get
favorite thing about podcasts is when the fucking host just stops talking. Like, you know, at first I was like, well, he's only one person. It's not like he's talking to someone else in a podcast or whatever. But I've been listening to the Bill Burr podcast. Entertaining podcast. I like Bill Burr's podcast. He's a funny guy. But he does. There's no periods of time where he's just dead silent for like minutes. He goes off, and I feel like there's a part of me that wonders if he's doing it to like help him with his like anger or something, because like a lot of times he's talking about, he's ranting about something that annoys him. I feel and it's not bad, it's entertaining. Like he talks about like you talk about like microplastics, and he's like, so now you go to the coffee shop and everyone's saying you gotta bring your own mug because the cup that they give you there, like the heat of the coffee melts the plastic and then it gets into your body. In our body, I just gotta ask, you know, God made us, right? And God is all knowing. So you're telling me God made our bodies just not know what to do when there's microplastic in this, and like trans fat, where it just puts it in the gut, it doesn't know what to do with it. Like he goes on this weird tangent about that, and it was so funny. I was like, so I loved his little rants he goes on. But here's the thing, though. Here's the kicker about all of it. His rants are more entertaining, and I feel they're more enlightening in some cases. Like it makes you, in a way, it makes you think more than anything I've heard coming from him. Like, and it's again one person, and then he reads like messages from like viewers, and it's interesting. Again, I love his podcasts. They're really like fun to listen to. Like there's one where they were talking about like I taught my mom how to use the remote and she keeps forgetting, and at some point, like, you know, this thing goes on, it's like, well, you're very trusting on technology, you know, what about that, like, you know, this, that, but he goes on, like, you know, saying that it goes both ways or whatever. He had a good like response to it. So you know, it's more interesting, more so than what I've heard from this guy, and he's saying they're just like, I mean, I can kind of understand with video games to a point, but when you're doing a podcast, I mean, come on. When you're sitting in silence, that just means to end the show. But he pushed this podcast to be 2 hours. Why?
your general political stances, and they've lost interest after getting what they want.
Oh god, I gotta hear this again. I went on such a fucking derailment.
Gerard says, I think some people wanted to get your general political stances, and they've lost interest after getting what they wanted. The thing is, I feel like we didn't even touch more than just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like I said, when I started the show,
oh man,
was almost a dead time.
I am so scared to ask what that even means. What is the tip of the iceberg? What are his deep thoughts on politics? I'm afraid to find out. Because the shit I heard him talk about in the politics show was fucking appalling to me. I was like, I can't believe what I've listened to. That's like, and I'm not sure it's appalling in the sense of like, it was heinous shit. More so than it was like a very childish understanding of what he read. And I was like, I don't know what the... So I'm scared to even ask what his deep thoughts are on anything.
For politics, because Trump had won the election, but we were in that floundering in-between time. You know, it ain't really going to hit the ground and get...
Dude, he didn't want to talk about the stuff leading to the election to begin with, which is like the most like active part of any campaign or anything. And instead we got these like one-off little windows about the debates and this and that, which are like, his takes on the debate were like, wow, guys, Biden, when he was there, he was like he was an old man and he just said things and he didn't make any sense. But Trump was talking in sentences. Like, this is stuff that everyone was saying at the time. And then, like, I don't think he even talked about the one when he was debating with Kamala Harris. Didn't even talk about it, I don't think. I think the most he said was like, oh, Trump said some silly things, and it's like, okay, man, that's sure a take. But then when it was like he won the election, like, he didn't want to talk about anything else. He didn't want to talk about the cabinet picks. Like, that's part of the news, by the part of the politics. Like, he didn't want to talk about or even research what were RFK Jr.'s opinions on anything relating to health. Didn't want to talk about that at all. Didn't want to talk about Elon Musk being involved or anything like that. Like, he didn't find it very interesting to talk about, like, the little window of time where Elon was saying that he's gonna pay people like $1 million to vote or whatever the fuck he told them, which is like, I find that to be kind of suspicious. If Kamala said that, I think people would be like a little bit up in arms about that. But like, whatever. I thought that was a little interesting to talk about, but you don't want to talk about that. You don't want to talk about any of the other candidates. You don't want to talk about the Department of Government Efficiency at all, having two people. Now it's just Elon. Elon's by himself there now, by the way. Didn't want to talk about that at all because it's not solidified yet. Okay.
Exciting until he's president and changes are starting to happen and sweeping debates are happening about what he's doing. Then I think there's
Wait. Oh my
in
god.
between time, it ain't really going to hit the ground and get exciting until he's president and changes are starting to happen and
Exciting. I guess it is exciting for some people. Other people may not have that opinion, but whatever. Okay. You could have these opinions now though, because a lot of the stuff he wants to do, he said before. Whatever. Okay.
sweeping debates are happening about what he's doing. Then I think there's more.
I feel like he wants these to happen so that he could have more fucking segments of, so now guys, Trump did this and all these people, win. This didn't go my way, win. He just wants to have more segments like that, which is like, I don't think that's a good idea, you know what I'm saying?
To talk about. I feel like I started it way too early and people got burned out way too fast on it because I just didn't have super interesting stuff to discuss every week.
Okay.
Wolf liked it. A £2 super chat says probably better to just stick to playing games. Well, again, that seems to be.
Yeah.
And by the way, not just playing games. Let's be honest
politics.
here.
I'm gonna say that.
Kind of hanging out with games. Me giving my takes on
like,
games.
I kind of low-key hate that he's not outright saying no, meaning that he could go back to it. I'm scared how that's gonna be.
Or pro wrestling, which is working now, like the smart guy stuff 2 episodes in is working well, I feel.
Man, I love that listen to this.
With games, me giving my takes on games.
We literally heard every button tap.
Or pro wrestling, which is working now, like the smart guy stuff 2 episodes in is working well, I feel. And continuing on with that. So, yeah.
Yeah. That animation is so weird. I hate that animation. It at a glance in your peripheral, it just looks weird.
Portal 2 mods. I'm sure there's tons of mods for the Portal games, right? I'm sure they made a bunch over time. And again, it's something I never hate.
He picks these mods, and he picks the ones that are so boring. Oh, this fixed the lighting. Oh, wow, look at this. Wow, so cool.
Dabbled, and I never played mods. So maybe that could be something interesting to check out at some point. Would be like mods for classic games that I like
why
Portal
not
2.
mute the mic?
I agree that might be a good one.
Why can he just mute the mic when he does that? He bought it just for the tap to mute feature, and he's only using it to leave.
Prince of Darkness, I think is correct, says, if you're not a firebrand like PPP, then doing politics never will work. You have to be polarized. I'm not shitting you. In order for people to be interested in politics.
Man, like, I think the people are like the most polarized. The people he's describing are probably like the hardcore grifters that are just saying it just to get clicks. But what DSP is kind of saying that you have to be polarized generally. I feel like it's just if you're a liberal, you're not gonna mostly say a lot of conservative values. You're not gonna share the same values as conservatives a lot of the time. There might be overlap on some things, sure, but generally you're gonna there's gonna be a lot of like differences of opinion, and I guess you could see this being polarized. I guess, but it's like it's I don't necessarily see it as you need to be polarized, but if you're gonna be like if you're gonna do politics, you have to just be informed. Then you have to like know what you're talking about, and you have to have an opinion on something that you believe in. Like whatever. Okay.
Political content, you either have to be all the way to this side, all the way to that side, slandering and insulting the people who don't agree with you and calling them jackasses. If you are ultra high,
It's weird he says that, right? Because he mischaracterized. I'm gonna be a little bit fair because I don't necessarily think he slandered Sharon Stone, but he mischaracterized and belittled her success in Hollywood to just being a sex object. Like, that's kind of being like what he just described. To boil down someone's entire career to just being a body is kind of disrespectful to the person. And this dude is saying, well, these other people do it and to get a rise out of people. Then what was your fucking shit with fucking Sharon Stone? Okay.
hyper invigorated with energy and just vigor and vitriol, you can get it to work because that's what I guess people like. They want drama, right? They want drama. They don't want takes that are
man.
like kind of thought out, middle of the
This
road.
this guy saying this, okay, let's hear this again.
Get it to work because that's what I guess people like. They want drama, right? They want drama. They don't want takes that are like kind of thought out, middle of
Guess what? His takes were not thought out. They weren't. And they were all drama bait. This, like, you can't tell me when you watch him talk about Jordan Neely's father, the way he acted about the immigration bullshit, the food drive stuff, the celebrity situation, all these things were all just like reactionary responses that were all heightened by fucking high energy and this and that. Like he did what he just described.
the road, interest still, listen.
What middle of the road? Like I've watched it. Like I feel. I mean, it's no secret that I'm a fucking liberal person and I have a lot of liberal values and all this other stuff, etc. But I feel I've been more middle of the road when I was reacting to his fucking bullshit because I at least try when I talk about politics because I don't feel comfortable just saying liberal stuff like back to back because it may insinuate other stuff. So I try to say like, look, I say what I believe, and then I go on and say like, I understand like with this why someone may see this in this kind of way, like with the immigration stuff. I see why, like I get like people may not want people here illegally and they want people to come here illegally and this and that, but I do think that at some point we have to look at the immigration process because that might be a problem as to why people are here illegally in the first place. This and that, like that's a little more middle of the road where it's like I understand that people want people to be here illegally, but there also needs to be a reason, but also like as to why they're here in the first place. All this other stuff. When I was watching his fucking politics channel, I did not get a whiff of any middle of the road like ideas from him. The closest you could kind of see an attempt, and that's being very, very, very generous, was with ironically the Jordan Neely stuff. Mostly at the beginning. At the beginning, he brings up that the system of the prison system and these people like leaving prison and being reintegrated into society has failed Jordan Neely to the point where he couldn't get a job and it led to him doing this way. But he didn't really focus on that part nearly as much as he focused on the more reactionary aspects of it. And it's like if you want to be a well-rounded, intelligent, intellectual guy, you have to at least be a little bit more like involved into what you're talking about. Like, what about the prison system that failed him? But he didn't really go into that. Not nearly as much as he went in on fucking Jordan's father. Father!
A lot of my takes did lean to the right for some of those topics that we covered, but there are going to be times when I'm not.
Dude, and then he brings up that a lot of my points lean to the right. This dude goes on and on and on, like, on about how he's middle of the road, he's a centrist. Like, at some point, just say what you are. And I'll just say he's just a grifter. He sees an opportunity. Because he should not be talking about politics, to be honest. Because I don't think he has the fortitude or just the backbone for it. Because this dude has no backbone whatsoever. Because I feel a lot of like these liberal values are a little more like involved. Like, you have to really, like, if you're gonna talk about transitioning or trans stuff, you do need to know a little bit more than just like what people want to do, because if you're not careful, you could be mischaracterized into an argument you may not want to be in at all. Like, there's all this stuff that you have to be a little bit more informed on, way more than just surface level like stuff. And there's stuff that I try to get a little bit more informed on to understand it better. But a lot of it, if I'm not informed on something, I don't try to like go really into it. I say stuff that I'm like, as much as I know of something, and that's it. But this dude will just stick with stories that he's comfortable with, and he won't engage the stories that are more like, that may have more going on with them. And I don't think he has the fortitude to go into these kind of debates, honestly. Like, is he going to go into any of this stuff? No. What's he going to say about, if he were to do politics now, what will his opinion be about Trump wanting to remove trans people from the military? What's his opinions on not allowing trans women to be in sports? Like, what's his opinions on these things? Like, he's gonna have very uninformed opinions on that, or just like a very shallow understanding of like, well, I think that, like, you know, if you're transitioned to be a woman, you're still gonna have like the biology of a man, and you shouldn't do this. And it's like, that may not even be the case. Like, there's a lot of stuff going on that's very like involved, and I don't think people want to hear that from him, to be honest.
Not right leaning. I get you. I get the feeling that once Trump's in power, that a lot of the things that he's going to do or say, I'm not going to agree with. Okay.
Like what?
So you're going to get,
because
like,
honestly, when you watch his politics, he said during the Ukraine shit, he was like fantasizing, demanding even. I mean, maybe I'm being a little too crazy with this, but he was saying that he wanted a speedy transition to Trump. So you're telling me the guy who wanted Trump to be inaugurated immediately would be critical of Trump? Okay, that is a statement. That is quite a statement.
other way for some of that. But the thing is, my takes are not, oh my God, 100%, I'm so gung-ho for this or that. They're not, and they're never going to be. So I don't think that it's going to be that interesting. More people want me to sit there and just destroy someone rather than actually have like an intelligent, thought-out take that could actually make you think. No one wants to think.
What takes made you think that he gave? Not a lot. Not a lot. Like, it was all just surface level. Like, you watch the Luigi Mangione shit, murder is bad. Okay.
Everyone just wants to laugh. Let's put it that way. No one wants to think. Everyone just wants to laugh or rage, one or the other. They want emotion rather than intelligence.
You're telling me he was being intelligent with this shit?
That's what's happening.
This is intelligence, by the way.
This is a woman whose career was based on like a 5-year period where the only thing she was known for was crossing her legs in an R-rated movie and then having a body. This, not even being a good actress, not even,
Doesn't even know what a good acting is, honestly. Probably not.
But now she's going to go over to the Torino Film Festival in Italy, and she's going to lecture us all on our intelligence level. Like she's some fucking brainiac, pariah. I know everything.
Dude, this dude is mad that Sharon Stone said, like, oh, people are dumb. I don't think she said that. I think she was saying, like, I think it was not. I don't know. I don't think she was talking about the individual. I just think she was talking about like the immaturity of like just how this is. I don't know. I wasn't there. I don't know. But whatever. Let's just go with what he said. Right? That she called people immature and stupid. Okay. Let's go with that. But here he just told us people don't want to think. They want to laugh. Oh, they don't want things that are intelligent. They want like this and that. So let me get this straight. It's okay for DSP to say that the common viewer is stupid, but when Sharon Stone says it, it's wrong. Why? Because it's Phil. Phil can say anything. He knows what's up.
Some people, there's a few people now who've said this in chat, maybe a political show bi-weekly or monthly. Maybe. Let me put it this way. I am not eager to start the show up right now. Like I said, I was going to do it after the Trump inauguration. He's inaugurated in just a couple days, right? First of all, this week it wouldn't work because this week I already have a day off on Thursday that I need to take off extra. All right. So like the earliest I could even do the show would probably be like, very end of the month or early February. But to be honest, I don't really feel like that's something that I'm interested in doing right now. I want to get solid playthroughs going. I want to continue with the Smart Guys show. Like I said, I actually have interest in appearing on 1 or 2 different shows and interviews that people have been talking with me about for a few weeks now. And I'd like to work on that, get some of those going. And then maybe after that, then figure it out. But for me, like right now, I'm just not really eager to jump back into politics.
Chew your finger. Eat it. Eat it. How did it taste?
Here we go. Ready for this? Listen. If only you guys had showed up and showered me in views and support. If only you giving me thousands of dollars to do DS politics, I'd be doing it right now. Maybe I would have become a full-time political guy. But all I know is, what happened. After a month 5, I think it was 5 weeks of doing it, it went on a massive decline. So I do what the people want, Actions speak louder than words. People can ask for it, but if they don't show up and support it, then there's no point in doing it. Correct?
Correct.
And I did give it a shot.
He did give it a shot. We must give him the credit, guys. He did do it. He did do it. Come on.
Gee, I wonder what that's a reference to. Says, if there's not a...
What did he say? What was the name?
Vinny's Pizza Real. Gee, I wonder what that's a reference to.
Man,
says,
dude,
if there's not a lot of new games coming out, then get political.
Hates when people bring up, like, have mean memes. Acts like this when it's, like, a harmless meme.
Get those 5 bands. There you go.
Get those 5 bands. Get them. Yes. Get those 5 bands, King. I swear you...
How is that anything meaningful as a gimmick? It's not.
Wait, what?
Yeah, I heard about that a Joy-Con on the Switch 2 can be used as a mouse. How is that anything meaningful as a gimmick? It's not. It's not at all.
Man,
that means you need a desk to fucking play. Right?
Okay.
Right now, the Switch is Joy-Cons that you move around like this. So now to use it as a mouse, you need a desk. How many people play their Switch in front of a...
Dude. It's a portable console. it's probably gonna give you more options, certain games that are like he acts as if like this gimmick, like what it is, he wants a gimmick that will like be mandatory, like the Wiimote. But the thing with that is then it becomes the problem, right? Where no game wants to use it, so it's a dumb gimmick. So the better option, I think, for gimmicks like that Nintendo are doing are ones that are not like intrusive like that, where it's like it's there. Whatever, okay. I started talking more about politics because he brought up like the fucking uh nonsense. Come on, get to it.
Kick at some point. I don't even know when, because every variation of any name that I've had,
Okay.
and they'll know it's really me. But, you know, like, you'd be dumb to think that's funny, but a lot of people are dumb. So everyone who has that name is pretty dumb. I'm
Yeah,
not gonna
like
lie. Like, if you have
Iron
real
Coke
at the end of your name
Sakai,
right now on Kick, you are pretty dumb.
Slayer,
I mean, I'm not.
DSP.
I'm sorry. That's just my
also
opinion.
really dumb.
I'm gonna tell you how I feel. That is pretty dumb. I think that you shouldn't have real at the end of your name on Kick. You're pretty dumb. Okay.
I think that's kind of lame. I mean, it's kind of funny. Think about it.
Well, the bottom line is, says I am dumb. Well, there you go. I mean, wow. Winston, 5 months as a member, says, I want a Synthetic Man collab. What's your...
Oh God. Oh, come
Where
on.
I'm of the impression I'm going to buy it, play it twice, and...
All right, I gotta go to Pig Go. I have to go to Pig Go. What a sentence. I gotta go to Pig Go. Let's see. What was in the sentence? Let's see. Oh, there we go. That got it.
I was destroying this BLM leader. Wasn't going to be a polarized...
Oh, maybe
I make more sitting here just talking to you about nothing than
Yeah, I think
I did on
started
DS Politics. I make more
whatever.
playing any video game. I would make more scratching my ass. Okay?
Okay.
So what that tells me is that initially there was interest. People saw what the show was going to be, realized that I wasn't going to be a polarized all the way to the right or all the way to the left asshole. And because I wasn't going to be polarized, they just weren't that interested in my opinions. And then the interest immediately died.
Okay.
Okay? Just being honest here. When I was kind of polarized in an opinion, so for example, when I was destroying this BLM leader and her absolute non-logic
Non-logic. Again, he didn't really like listen to what she said like at all because he was more like upset that she was like yelling, and that is kind of a I said this in the last video and I don't know what the word is, but it's kind of like a racial prejudice. Whatever. That you know, that some people are more inclined to have like a negative reaction to just a black person just simply yelling or just talking loudly, and it may not even be in the intention of being negative. It could just be anything, and they'll interpret it badly like that. And that's kind of what it comes off as, because again, like she brings up the length of time that Daniel Penny had the chokehold on Jordan being too long, and the length of it was excessive, that led to his death, and he didn't need to hold him for that long, you know, etc. Didn't really have any opinion on that, and just focus on like, just wow, you're yelling and all this other stuff. But meanwhile, the person who's hosting the interview was also just yelling and instigating arguments as well. Like, that's what I also brought up. I did not like that video that much because it just seemed very rage baity. Like, it just seemed like they just wanted to get like people worked up. And it's like, I don't want to watch this. I'd much rather just read an article discussing this and all this other stuff. Like, I don't need to watch this where it just didn't seem very like it was giving me bad vibes. Like, it was hard to take it in good faith. And this dude was watching this and like, oh, I was just angry that she was just kind of yelling basically.
backwards side talk out of her fucking mouth, and she was just a complete bitch, okay?
A
When I
complete
was
bitch.
destroying her.
How is he destroying her? Whatever, okay. I mean, he didn't listen to what she was saying and just discredited everything she was saying because he didn't like what he was hearing.
Basically, then, people liked it. But then anytime that I had, like, a rational take,
Like what?
something that wasn't, like...
It's so weird, right? He was able to name the BLM leader as an example as to his polarizing take, but has no examples of his reasonable, smart, intelligent take. Like, what like, does he say anything? Probably not.
slamming and destroying someone immediately, no one cared, okay?
He was slamming and destroying people in this fucking politics show. Like, and I said it was a little problematic in this one news story he was covering where he was talking about, like, this, two people, I think, he had like two stories or so of people who murdered a family member over the Trump election, but he did not really, like, think about what that could imply. Like, the person could have been an abusive relative, and the person, and this and that. Like, there was a little bit more. I feel like there was a little bit more to the story than just simply this person killed this person, and that's it. Like, there had to have been more to that kind of story. And he didn't really think at all about that, and just spent the time saying, "Wow, these people are unhinged. They kill someone for who they voted for." But it's like, there's probably more to that story than just that. Because it seemed, at least from when he was going over it, it seemed like it was a ongoing developing story. Like, it wasn't a story that was resolved or anything. Like, because it's probably an ongoing investigation as to what happened, what her motives were, whatever.
So, that's just the truth of the
But
matter. Now, I put DS Politics
whatever.
on a hiatus
Okay.
for some good reasons, you know? Particularly, I needed to focus on the special events, the Christmas marathon, okay?
So we heard everything after this. So that's pretty much it. I think that covers all the stuff I want to talk about as far as the politics stuff is concerned. I do want to watch the Nintendo reign he went on, but I kind of don't want to go any longer. I think this is a good place to end it. But let's do a vibe check on his little stream. Let's go to his little stream here.
Some people have said get a gaming monitor and stuff. Well, that means
Man.
I don't use my TV at all. So now my TV is worthless.
Look at this fucking setup. Look at this setup. Like, it's so funny that the mic arm has to be there. Nowhere else he could figure out how to put it. No, nothing. And he puts the thermos on the floor. So then he has to reach down to get it, to then pour it in the mug. Like, I have a lot of thoughts about this setup. This is like, it's kind of wild. It's kind of wild to me, and he thinks this is a good setup. But like, when he was setting it up last night, he looked more like he was in a high chair than he was before. Like, because the camera was like dead on to where the desk was, and it literally looked like a baby staring right at you, like, give me food. But man, so the leaderboard keyboard, but man, you know what's funny? For years he said he had to keep the leaderboard keyboard on the desk that's in front of us right now. And then that's where he had to keep it, as the laptop was on that side of the table. So that's why you get was like him doing this with the leaderboard. But now, and he did that because he said that the signal to the leaderboard, to the PC, was fucked up for some reason. So when he moved to the one where he's doing this, it had a stronger connection. But magically, he got it to work normally now. Okay, cool, I guess. And then he has his laptop there. But man, oh, okay.
Bliss, and I would have to get a different setup because this desk wouldn't be big enough. I'd have to get a bigger gaming desk and put it here and put a monitor right in front of me and put the webcam on the monitor. And, you know,
Man, why? How big is this TV? I guess his TV's, I want to say it's like probably like 30, 50, 40 inch? Between there, 30 to 50. Crazy, crazy estimate. But, he, so maybe what he could do, one of two things, right? This might be a little crazy. Move the TV closer to him, or better yet, he could just move the camera closer. Or, again, what he could also do, another crazy idea here, is just find a different camera angle for the camera that he's using for the podcast. Oh, guys, look, he's sitting cross-legged, crossing his legs. That's all he's known for. That's all he's good for. That's how he gets so much money. He crosses his legs, and he has feet.
you're talking of just redesigning the whole setup from the ground up, which I don't see the point. It's fine as it is. You know, it really, I'm looking at the wrong camera again. It's fine as it is. It's just, you know, we're gonna, we have to.
So there was a there's a gag in the Daily Show where Jon Stewart will use a second camera where he'll be looking at the camera here, then he'll look at the camera here to talk or whatever. And that kind of what this reminds me of, and because I was watching the stream a little bit last night, I'm thinking he could use it for the podcast. Is he gonna do the fucking Jon Stewart bit, and it's gonna be far more cringe? Like, is that what he's gonna do? Was that the game plan?
To go with this camera when it goes for gaming. And I mean, to be quite frank, do you think this looks so bad? It looks good to me. I mean, yeah, when I'm gaming, I'm facing this way. Like today, I'll be playing Dark Souls with the gamepad like this. Is this horrible?
He is. I hate how people have got him to be so. Oh my god, this is such a wild face. He literally looks like a caveman. But he's so self-conscious about floating arms, and it's like, that is funny. Phil, just accept it's funny. It's okay. It's okay for it to be funny. And this dude is like, oh, I can't have people laugh at me for doing this. Like, come on, get over it. It's either that, but I think, in my opinion, it's the boob. Because I feel he saw, like, I think PPP went into more detail about it on Kino Casino than he did on Smart Guys with DSP. And he talked about, like, seeing his nipple and this and that. And I think that's what drove him to the point where he needed two cameras. And he wanted to avoid having an angle because of that. He's like, you're gonna objectify my boobs? Fuck you.
I think people are just picky. People are so used to seeing things only done in one particular way, right?
Oh my god,
For example,
dude. Then why did you do this?
most streamers, content creators have.
By the way, when he got when he got two cameras and the second camera was coming, this dude was bragging about it. Oh, I can have two camera setups. Everyone should have it. Oh my god, this is gonna be so crazy. Now it's a real studio. And now he's like doing this.
A cramped gaming desk, and my webcam is attached to my monitor.
Oh my god.
So the AI tool is better because, you know, yeah, but they're sitting at a cramped fucking gaming desk with monitors up in their fucking faces.
Oh my god.
It's a stupid setup.
This is like the original fucking, I don't want to use direct capture, sitting in front of my screen with headphones on, doing this. As this dude, like, literally when he goes to his fucking leaderboard PC, he's doing this, typing. Like, he's saying as if, like, all these people are, like, not optimized for anything, and this dude is like, look at him, he's like in a little cage. He's in a little cage of his little desk, and it's like, I love it here.
This is nice. I have open air setup. It's comfortable in here. Take a look at this. You understand how comfortable it is in here? Look at
That looks comfortable to you. I mean, my setup is like a little more comfortable because there's literal open space. Guys, my setup, it's so open. Look how open it is. Like I can just do this. I can just do this, and the most I can just back out like this, just because of my lovely canvas that's right here of all these characters like Jimmy or Saul Goodman, and then like I can walk over here and like I can like find a little external battery with Igus on it. Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, wow. Look how open air this is. This is the future, guys. And then I sit down, and here I am. I didn't have to, like, walk like a caveman out of here.
All the space I have, because I'm not cramped at a fucking desk with 2 monitors in my face that I'm squinting at,
Dude,
right?
he has the same setup as a desk right now, my guy. A desk takes the same amount of space as these dumbass fucking tables. This dude is literally acting as if, like, oh man, it's really like he thinks of it as like being a nerd, and he doesn't want to be a nerd because he thinks negatively of nerds.
Right in front, you know, I got room to move. It's aerated.
Aerated.
The floor is clean.
Oh my god.
It's comfy. I got a nice comfy.
It's aerated. Yeah, because if the monitor's in front of you, like I have 2 monitors right in front of me, guys. Crazy, right? I could tell you guys, it's like I put a plastic bag over my head. That's how cramped this feels and how unaerated it is. Right? Even though like I have the door open, I mean, come on. Like, dude, it's a fucking room. He's in a room. And he acts as if he puts a monitor there and suddenly there's no room. Suddenly, no room at all. This is like insane.
Comfy chair. This is a great setup. This is very similar to how I explained back in the day how people should game. When you're going to game.
Oh my god, they saying people how they should game. Dude, you argued about being on a love seat, my guy. You're not on a love seat. You're not. Guys, okay, you know what? I'm gonna tell you, this is like really game. You sit upside down on the fucking couch, head on the floor, and you hold a controller and you drink bleach. Do that and you're gaming. That's gaming. That's gaming done right.
It's supposed to be a relaxing, fun experience. You're supposed to be trying to unwind and have a good time. It's not, oh, it's time to game. Let me now get into the most uncomfortable position possible.
He is saying this because people said that he looks incredible in his little setup. So this could be seen as cope.
Cramped in front of a gaming desk with 2 monitors in my face.
In my face! As he has a laptop monitor in his face right there. Doing this constantly. Doing this. This dude. So it's comfortable to sit here like playing a game, then you're just doing this. I'm reading chat, guys, okay? That's way more comfortable than just like, you know, staring at things, I guess.
With cameras and lights blaring in my fucking face. And I'm like, what?
Dude, you have fucking RGBs up your ass. Like, literally every... Dude, it was like driving me crazy last night. That everything is like blinking RGBs. He has 2 keyboards. Like, do you really need RGB keyboards? Do you really need them? He has 2 RGB keyboards. Like, just going off crazy. Has the fucking Pac-Man lamp, has the Devoom, has the fucking RGBs all around him, and he has the mic that's RGB, 2 PC RGBs, capture card RGBs, a ring light. Like, you're telling me, and you can see the door open, by the way, so Cat's at work, obviously. So you're telling me that this is not as a monitor with a light on it is as intrusive as this? It's the same, dum-dum.
No, you're supposed to come home and plop down on your couch and boot up a game and have a good time. That was the whole point of gaming.
But this is your job, right? Correct? And you say that I don't relax in here. What? Like, I have said this before, but when you really think about this, and you just think about it, you really realize what he's kind of telling you when he has these little rants. And it's like a very like obvious statement too. He just wants a job where he's just sitting there not stressed, relaxing, playing video games, and getting paid for that. That's what he wants to do. The whole thing about it being hard, like, this is why the whole this is hard work shit gets like shot down so fast to me. I don't give a fuck what he could generally be doing hard work for all I fucking know. I don't give a fuck. This dude is sitting there crying about I want to be relaxing. Dude, this is your job. Why not just get a bigger desk? Like, there's so many things he could do that could change his setup. Why not have where the streaming PC is? Like, if that's capturing, have that be like behind you. Have that old gamer chair focusing on the TV. Like, all of those stuff. You have like more desks around you. Like, he could do a lot of other things. I don't know. Like, I just think the general position of him being in a corner is not very conducive. Unless you're very creative, which DSP is not creative.
People lost their way when they became content creators. Oh, it's not about
They
fun
lost
anymore.
their
It's about, oh, I
way.
gotta sit here and have this professional fucking setup with it. No!
Dude, this is literally a baby who's like, you're giving me mashed peas? No! Give me something else! I want food that I want, not this! Mommy,
It's
no!
ridiculous. So this is a hybrid. It's basically very comfy.
Oh my
I get a
god!
lot of-
And the fucking camera is zooming the fucking like zooming shit like this and that. Like, dude, this dude is such a dummy, such a dumb.
Nice air, right? I get
Nice air,
room.
beautiful
See,
air.
I'm not cramped. See how all the space I have here as I'm doing this?
When he did a full 360, he hit his foot. Look how not cramped it is.
And I don't have to sacrifice my comfort to have a webcam in my face.
This dude, by the way, says everyone should go through sacrifice or whatever the fuck. He says some weird shit about sacrifice, that people need to sacrifice for their families or something. Like, it's really something else. And this dude, given the chance, will tell you, I don't want to sacrifice. I don't want to sacrifice.
It's better this way. It really, I just don't get it. I really don't. It just drives me nuts that people think that if you're not doing it exactly like how every single content creator does, you're doing it wrong. Like, that's completely false.
You are doing it wrong.
So are you guys saying the wide angle shot, the camera is auto adjusting constantly? Okay.
Oh man.
If you want, we can actually turn off focus. I need to set it to a focus
Okay.
now. Does this look good?
Oh my god, this looks so. You know, there was a tweet I read. I don't remember the full context of it. I just remember that someone used the term gay lighting. And I don't know if it's like I don't know if it was Disney who said that, Pixar, or someone. I don't know. I don't remember the context of it. So excuse me if it was like for not knowing. That's like what they're talking about. Like, this is like the colors that people are getting mad at. Even though I'd argue that I like these kind of like cool colors. I think these colors are kind of sick. But whatever. Okay.
Because I could change it, but it's probably gonna make it look blurry. I would assume, because I think this focus is more for up close. Let's see. Oh yeah, see that? So I've got to go as wide as possible, basically.
Why does he just move the camera closer?
Actually, that's better right
Like,
there, isn't it?
He showed us the camera, by the way, and it's like tiny. So why not just move it closer? It's on a tripod, isn't it? Why not just move it closer or have it be attached to something else? I don't know.
That's sharper. I'm looking right now. That's sharper, right? Right there. Right about there, 82%. Right there. That's good. That's crisp. Yo, that's crispy.
Yo,
that's
crispy.
a crispy, sharp
Remember
angle
he
right there.
mocked,
And then it never has to
LTG
change
for
because I'm
saying
always going to be
crisp.
sitting here from this angle. There you go.
Okay, so why are we doing
Very
this?
nice. All right, cool. That's good to go. We don't need that. Now we don't have to worry about the autofocus screwing up the angle anymore. Beautiful. All right, cool. Ha ha ha. Making
Okay.
progress live. Very
Wow,
nice,
this
right? I need
is
some
very-
clean slippers. See, I don't know, like, for me, when I'm just sitting around on my
I don't know about slippers.
couch or here in the office. I don't like wearing socks or slippers. I don't know why. I do wear slippers in the
Man,
house.
isn't that like an autistic thing? But he wears slippers everywhere else, so at the same time, I don't think it can be, because I think if he was, he wouldn't be wearing it, period. But he's wearing them like in other places. But I guess autistic people could work on that too. So maybe he's like a high functioning one.
My slippers are right outside the door. I leave them in the hallway. But I don't like wearing them when I'm in here. You know what it is? I just don't want smelly feet. If you are wearing socks or you're wearing...
You can solve smelly feet by washing your feet. You just take some body soap, and when you rub your body down with your hand or loofah, whatever you want to use, you just rub it like between the toes and all of that. That's how you wash your feet, Phil. I don't know if you know the little trick about washing yourself, but that's how you do it. That's how people do it. But you should try with bleach. I think bleach will help him way more.
You know? So I don't like that. I don't like sweaty feet. This way my feet don't sweat.
He should shove his feet in bleach, and then...
All right, so anyway, that was an anonymous $2 tip
ever again.
Let's get that up on the leaderboard. Looks like a bunch of tips are coming in now.
A bunch of tips. Oh, yeah.
Like just another one, right?
Wait, what? There's another one?
Right? So it's like everything has to be more cable management and stuff.
Oh.
Put a fog machine in the room, and the angle shows how big the room really is. You're right. So here we go. This angle shows that the room is about mid-size. This is basically, this room is very confined. It's a bedroom. I wish I had a bigger studio. I don't. It's a small...
You know his living room is pretty big, right? Correct?
Small bedroom in the corner of my house, and I had to have this one. I actually wanted to use the other room, and I was told I couldn't because the internet lines come into this room. So this room has the better internet. If I put it over across the hall, it wouldn't have been as good, I was told. So...
Wow.
That's why my office is here.
Okay.
You know? But you could see... you could definitely
how
see
bad would it be if you do the other room?
It's kind of cramped though. Like for
would it be
example, when Pat
dial-up
and I were
speed?
sitting here trying to do the co-ops.
Man, he streams in the other room and the speed is dial-up. That's how bad it is. It's like going to a different country at that point.
Stuff. It was very cramped, where like we couldn't even move. Like to kind of like, you know, if one person's gonna get up, the other person has to kind of get out of the way. You know, there's not a ton of
what
here trying to do the co-op stuff. It was very cramped, where like we could.
Oh. I already hear the jokes. I already hear them. DSP. Man, you know, honestly, you could give him credit. You know, he doesn't see body weight. He sees his wife, his lovely wife, and it's not like bringing attention to her size at all. He would say this with anybody.
Couldn't even move. Like to kind of like, you know, if one person's gonna get up, the other person has to kind of get out of the way. You know, there's not a ton of room here. So
why would he say that?
But it's nice. I still like it. You know,
he knows people make fun of her weight. He knows, and he says that. And I can't let this go. I can't let this go, dude. He was sitting like there. She was sitting like in front of the Pac-Man lamp. You're telling me that he couldn't like walk around? I mean, maybe I'm being a little too kind saying he doesn't see body weight, and more like I should be more mean to him, because I feel like he could have easily gone around Cat to go out the door. I don't think it was that challenging, because like Cat is not that fat. Like, dude, it's really weird how much this dude just unknowingly shits on his wife, his own wife, the soulmate. I don't know what this is.
Like we couldn't even move. Like to kind of like, you know, if one
she was able to get out just fine, by the way, as well. Like, watch the last co-op stream of Dodoko. She literally just walked out normally. This dude is finding so many excuses why she didn't want to like be there, when the simple answer is DSP is a boring person. He doesn't talk to her at all. I really don't think they have any meaningful time together at all. If you give them time together, he's gonna fucking play champions like a motherfucker.
You know, there's not a ton of room here. So, but it's nice. I still like it. You know, now that you see many or any cables, there's only a few. You know, the minimal.
Okay. Sure.
Warning people, if these are troll tips, you're just gonna be today's border, since today we're doing
So, he's ignoring troll tips. Can they charge back then? Because you're not reading the tips then.
Dark Souls with mods on it. I think Magical Dumas was.
Why doesn't he just refund those tips, by the way?
But who's my favorite? I don't know. See, here's the thing.
Because if they can't
I
charge
think it's
back
kind of
a
a silly,
tip that
frivolous
you refund.
thing that they give you this tool.
That would be crazy.
You spend all this time making a character, and then it doesn't matter. Not working. No.
Is there anything else?
Or I should say slacking, with the animations for gifted subs on Kick, and I apologize for that. Let's do a nice 5 sub bomb animation.
I'm assuming that's it. I don't think
for those 6 gifted subs over on Kick, but they are anonymous, so I don't have a name for it. But thank you for that.
Man,
and that jumps us $30. We had 3 more. We're doing DSP tries it.
Okay, let's
by himself,
live.
and he crawls in there, which is pretty cool. Jasper Kitty opening.
How did he open the door?
We're gonna go crazy. And for the last half hour, I go to use them, and my internet F's up. My internet would not stop having problems. By the way, you can now see Jasper Kitty opening the closet door and sneaking in. You've never been able to see that before. He does this all the time. He opens the closet door by himself, and he crawls in there, which is pretty cool.
Wow, that cat's kind of strong, honestly.
Yeah, we couldn't play with the Akimbo handguns.
He opened the door,
and my internet kept crapping out for the last half hour. And it's funny because some people are like,
Jasper. Okay, I'm starting to think Jasper is training for something. He's able to open a door. It was like he all these little scratches he did, like when he scratched his little nipple. That was him like testing out his skills. He's DSP. I would sleep with the one I open at this point. Jasper is plotting something. Oh my god, he looks dead. Jasper, finish the job. Oh no. Jasper, no.
Oh, you're getting DDoS attacked. I mean, it's not a DDoS. Packets of data.
Packets of data.
Fresh. It was just really use them. So next time I play Black Ops 6 Rakovas, now that we're going to do an Indies night where it was.
Wow, we're doing the schedule and it's this late? What happened? What happened to this guy? All right. Well, that is it for this video. We had quite a derailment there. I hope you enjoyed this video. Hope you understand why I don't think his politics channel should come back. Look, hold up. I got another smart way to end this, guys. Okay, look, we're gonna go full screen. Guys, get a load of this. Get a load of these sunglasses. Or the Gendo glasses. These are the glasses I like so much. I thought these would be bigger, but I don't think they are. But the reflection is crazy, so who knows what you're seeing in my house. Oh my god. I don't think you're seeing anything like crazy. No, I'm nervous. Now I'm nervous. What can you see? What can you see? I think all it is just you're mostly gonna be seeing my computer screen. Good thing I don't have my social security number on the computer screen. These are guys not expected to be this reflective. It's kind of crazy, kind of nuts, if you ask me. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.